Welcome to the Stacking Triggers podcast. I am not a jack-o'-lantern. My name is Bill. Dan, how are you this evening?
I'm just wonderful. We got off the phone with my mom, and I say we. Well, it's my mom, but like I was on the phone, and I just answer the phone and put it on speakerphone. Some of the funniest shit comes out of the woman's mouth sometimes, and I don't think she knows it.
Linda, don't change.
Don't change.
Don't change.
You need to change. There are certain things you need to change, but I will not talk about them here because it's not the purview of this podcast. Bill, how are you?
I've been okay. I've been okay. I'm finally off my Magic hiatus. Been playing a little bit. Been feeling pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Doing all right. But yeah, other than that, can't complain. Budget extensions for the Congress.
Yeah.
But I'm more interested in Magic and a lot of the stuff that's been going on lately. Today we are talking about a segment, Dan, you are calling Modern Malaise, as well as what we have found as the Revitalization of Standard that was recently announced. Mm-hmm. I'm personally excited for that segment because I'm finding Standard now to be a little more fresh, but I'll wait till we get there. But Dan, let's talk about the Modern Malaise.
Yeah, and I think this is I don't want to say this is specific to us, but because I'm sure there's many people who are like, I'm trying to slam in Modern because it's the Modern RCQ season, and people are playing Modern and they're not having fun. And to a degree, I feel like that is us, where we are just not having fun playing Modern right now.
No, we are not having fun playing Modern. I think last episode we talked about how I took a little bit of a break, a hiatus, and I think it's just because I jammed so much Modern and was just defeated at every corner trying to practice for this RCQ season. And it is constantly the same decks. You are always seeing the same decks. And granted, you're going to see that with a lot of metas, but it just feels like there's very little diversity even within those certain archetypes, right? Like the scam archetype. You're going to see the same 75 pretty much every time. There's very little innovation, and it makes for very, very boring gameplay, especially when you don't want to run that kind of a deck. And when you do try to run it, things happen.
Yeah, I shared a meme online, which is like soft SpongeBob, and it's like me playing the deck that always beats me, and then it's muscly SpongeBob as my opponent playing that deck, and it's just like, what is happening here? And on the channel, I'm again playing Murktide. I played Murktide 2 weeks in a row, mainly for RCQ practice, but also because like I booted up a 4-color league, tried to play the 4-color deck, went 0-5. I think I won one whole game. I played against 2 4-color mirror matches, and that was just misery playing those games. And then I played Scam, and it's just like I know the first like 3 turns of how to play the first 3 turns of Scam, and then after that it's just like, what do I fucking do? Because it's like I'm not drawing lands, I'm not drawing action. Like somehow I'm not drawing both lands and action at the same time, and it doesn't make any sense. So it's just like, what do I do at this point?
What are you drawing?
I just sit there, and I eventually beat a 4-color deck, and I'm like, hooray! I feel slightly good, but like I fucking hate this. I can't play this deck, so like I just have to go back to Murktide. So I just recorded like my first Murktide video for the league. Won against Amulet Titan, but like you can see me in game 1 just getting so pissed because like spoiler alert for this video, although it's already out by the time you're watching this, but my opponent keeps a 3-card hand, opening hand in game 1, and I'm like, what is this, Tron? Because they go like they went Urza Saga and maybe then Amulet, and I'm like, okay, so this is Titan. Like, this is easily Titan. Like, okay, they're on 3. I can beat Titan. I have Ragavan Ledger Shredder. Like, I'm in such a great spot.
Yeah.
And then they just proceed to, on like turn 5, fucking over combo with fucking Titan. And I'm like, how? How do I lose? How did I lose this game?
How are you so far behind?
How am I so far behind?
Ahead?
when like they have 3 fucking cards in hand, and you can see me just getting so mad, and then I just come back and win the matchup because
Use the rage.
well, Murktide sideboard, and I've said this 1,000 times to you. I'll say this 1,000 times more on the podcast. Murktide's really good if you have the right sideboard. If you have the right 75 with Murktide, you will beat every day. Like you'll just win you'll just win like a whole tournament. If you have the wrong 75, you'll get fucking raffle stomped by everybody.
Dang. Yeah, I agree 100% on the feeling of just not having fun. Originally in Modern, I was a burn player.
Yes.
And as of late, like I did a league I didn't record and went like 3-2, maybe 4-1. Yeah, 3-2, 4-1. As soon as I try to record it, like I just lose every game. And it's always to like these control matchups. And I don't understand how these control matchups can be so controlling and win.
Right. Like how do they get to interact early, interact enough to stabilize the board state, and then eventually overpower you? Like at some point, and that's the problem with the Up the Beanstalk card. At some point, that card becomes way too good at card advantage. I'm not calling for a ban on it because, like,
I think it's too early.
Next set, something fucking powerful is going to get printed, and we're going to be like, oh, well, this deck is now broken, shit. So I'm not calling for a ban on it, but like, it's obvious that Up the Beanstalk has some cool effects, like obviously like Leyline Binding, Solitude, Fury, like being able to play those cards. And I think the overall problem is it also cantripping. Like if it didn't cantrip itself, I think people would be like,
better.
Like it would be more balanced, I think. But people are also like, no, it has to have the cantrip on it. And I'm like, I understand both sides of this. It's just one of those awkward things where it's just like, I feel like this card breaks a deck that is inherently unfair, and the reason why the deck wasn't as great is that it eventually ran out of steam by being unfair.
Right.
But now with Beanstalk plus Ring, it can just reload and go play card disadvantage too. I don't feel like that is a particularly healthy play pattern. Like as bad as everyone says that Scam at least has a healthy enough play pattern to where, like, if you can stabilize the board after they've scammed out their cards, you just beat them. Like they have, like, they can top deck obviously, but you can just control the game flow after that.
Yeah, they typically only get 1 to 2 creatures out there. Right. Yeah. Like especially like the scam, right? Like the scam is getting that menace creature that's evades the bolts and stuff, right? But if you can either stop that from happening or like you said, just stabilize the turn after, you're right.
Not even the turn after, but like the turn after the turn after. Like as long as you're stabilizing at some point, because you can tank 8 damage. Now, if it's a Scam Fury, you can't tank 16 damage. You just can't.
It's a little hard to take.
Little harder. And that's the problem is like a scammed out Fury is like one of the hardest cards to remove in the game outside of like a Solitude or somehow getting an Unholy Heat up to Delirium levels.
I think kind of getting back to the Beanstalk, right? And the 4-color controls. I feel the problem is every piece of interaction is a cantrip. That I feel is the major problem. If it was, I'm going to play a threat in cantrip, I feel like that's a lot better because you're putting board advantage out, but you're not interacting with me, and so I still might have a chance, even though your threat is very large.
That's fair. I don't know. It's just like Beanstalk making everything cantrip as opposed to just certain things, because like Omnath cantrips, technically, because you enter his battlefield, draw a card.
Right. Yeah, but his ability has to trigger 2 more times before he does damage to you right out the gate.
Well, but like you gain 4 life, which also restabilizes your board because like against burn, like the second you gain any life against burn, it's basically over. Like burn has a certain
Yeah.
amount of damage it can deal to you, and once it deals that amount of damage, if you're still alive, then you're just kind of like, all right, well the game's over. But
Yep.
like Omnath, like yeah, you Omnath can even come down on turn 4 cantrip and just be fine. Omnath can come down on turn 5. You play a fetch, gain 4 life, and then get 4 mana to play fucking One Ring, and you're just like, well, there
Yeah.
it goes. There's everything. I can't do
Yep.
anything now.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating to play against that. I don't know. I also have a very hard time with the 3 cost Teferi.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate that card. I would much rather see the rest of the 4-color deck except that card.
Yeah. Well, because it
Because
prevents you from actually playing the game.
it's not that. It's they always play it after I get a Rift Bolt suspended. Always. Like I have so much video of me just being mad because my Rift Bolt is now countered because I can't actually cast it from exile.
Right. So it just stays there. It's just like, well, this sucks.
Yeah. And it just makes me very, very mad. But right, yeah, so we've also played, prowess as well,
Mhm.
and I just feel like these smaller creatures are a lot harder to kind of get across the finish line with the evoke creatures out too.
Yes.
Right? Like so things that really stick though are like the questing druid, right? Because that's permanent power gain. So that way you can eventually block a scammed out creature.
Mhm.
Um which is fine. I mean, still is not great when you get solituded, but
Right. And that's the thing too, is like the little creature decks outside of like Yawgmoth, like the little
right.
creature decks just don't seem like they have enough, man. Like they just don't. It just
I
doesn't
don't
feel good.
I don't even think like goblins, like the bushwhack goblins, I don't think you can even get out fast enough anymore to be able to do anything.
No, you will likely. I mean, obviously, there are those decks that don't run Solitude or don't run Fury at all. Like, yeah,
Right.
you got your Murktide, you have like Yawgmoth doesn't do it, but like it just feels like in this current era, unless you're comboing with creatures, your creatures really should do something the second they hit the battlefield. Otherwise, they're just kind of worthless.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the current kind of metagame for how long has
A
Wild's been
month,
out?
about a
A
month.
month? Let me here. Okay, they might be classifying things wrong, but like, meta share wise, Rakdos Scam is still the biggest
Oh
share right
yeah,
now at around 12.5%. Amulet Titan is closing the gap behind. I don't know why.
really? That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
I never would have guessed that.
they're at 5.8. 5-color Bring to Light is coming up at 4.6. I have a feeling that's the one they're misclassifying.
Kind of. On Math, the 4 color deck can kind of go in a million different directions. It can go control. It can
Yeah,
just go straight up Value Town. It can go Bring to Light. So like, there's plenty. Like, and the Bring to Light variant runs Elishnorn, so
I
that way
see that.
like
Yeah.
you can double up your ETBs, and now your opponent can't Leyline Binding or Solitude you, and now you just have a massive amount of advantage.
Got it. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's at 4.6. Yawgmoth is now at 4.6. Hammer Time is at 4. Murktide is actually on the decline at 4.
Keep declining. Give me it. Just let me have it by myself.
Burn has now slipped into tier 2. They were tier 1 a couple weeks ago.
Oof.
They're at 3.5. Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to go through here, but it's definitely we're seeing a lot more 4-color things floating towards the top, which is a is that why they banned Golos? I can't remember. Wait, did they ban Golos?
No, you're thinking
No,
Commander.
that
Commander,
was
they ban Golos.
Commander. That was Commander. They banned Golos. You're right.
Well,
But that's something though that they start to kind of look at is when things become 5-color piles. right? That's
Yeah.
when there's going to be a change.
You would hope so.
Yeah.
And the overall issue is, and I'm not saying they should do anything with these, but the overall issue is fetch lands. Fetch lands make turn 2 leyline binding the easiest fucking thing in the world.
It does, yeah.
Like, and that's like the big thing with domain is like domain has like, you know, if you have 2 fetch lands, you can likely get to domain where your spells now cost 1 mana, or your territorial kavu is a 5/5, or your Neshoba Bushwalker is a 5/3, or whatever. You know, like, you can just easily cheat in like big value for the price of 2 fetch lands, which is kind of insane.
Yeah. That's very frustrating. Yeah, sorry.
And that's why when people were like, "Oh, I want Pioneer to have fetch," no, why? Why would you want Pioneer to have fetch lands?
I actually am starting to lean more towards Pioneer now.
Yes,
from just a mental thinking, because it doesn't have external sets pushing it, right?
Sure.
I don't necessarily know if external sets are bad, good, whatever. It just feels like since the printing of Modern Horizon 2, and The Lord of the Rings, almost every deck plays a card from one of those sets.
Sure.
I don't think there's any deck that doesn't. You're thinking through it, trying to find one. The only one that might be would be maybe Yawgmoth.
No, Yawgmoth itself was from Modern Horizons 1.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Okay.
Well, that's not the one.
Well, and they run the ignoble hierarch too, which was an MH2
All right, so
card.
Scam for sure does. Rhino's Crashing Footfalls is directly from Modern Horizons. Omnath is spurred on by all those. Murktide has Murktide, DRC, and Ledger Shredder.
Yeah, Murktide was an MH2 deck.
Yep, MH2.deck.
Yeah.
Hammer Time has Urza Saga, and Stoneforge Mystic. Maybe no, Stoneforge Mystic.
No,
I think
Stoneforge was before that. Yeah.
There's something else. Cauldron Complete, like there that might be the one least touched by it, but I could be wrong. I could be missing something. They also, some variants also play Solitude. Amulet Titan Ursa Saga is the main one. Outside of that, they run Endurance in the sideboard, so that's that. Living End.
They play Grief.
They play Grief, that's right. And also they have the Land Cyclers now. Mono Greentron, they have the One Ring and Urza Saga.
Yeah.
Burn? No, because they have Sanctifier and Vec in the sideboard. And
they also
Guide?
The MH1 lands.
Oh yeah. Those, because for whatever reason the land base in Burn is just atrocious somehow.
It's terrible. It hurts you more than it hurts your opponent.
Yawgmoth, like we said. Hardened Scales has Saga. It has Zabaz, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Jund Sagavan, that's like also a Modern Horizons deck. Because it's Urza Saga, Ren and 6, Monkey, not Tarmogoyf. Urza Saga, Ren and 6, Monkey. And like those are like you run 4 of those, so like a quarter of your deck is fucking those.
Okay, maybe Merfolk.
Merfolk, maybe.
They
have Sphaloon, which is MH2.
That's true. And Subtlety now, it looks like.
Subtlety.
And Tide Shaper, yeah.
And Tide Shaper, because you need an actual 1-drop, even though
Force
you're really playing Tide Shaper on 2. They need second Aether Vial, a different Aether Vial in that deck.
Yeah.
They need it, and they need it badly, because they need to turn 1 play, because all they have is Aether Vial, Preordain, and that's it.
Yep.
I'm just going through this. There's not a thing.
I don't think there's a single deck right now that doesn't run a card from a set external, or a set that's not in one of those designed for modern sets. And I'm not necessarily saying it's the wrong thing. I'm just saying it's a trend.
Well, yes, because
Yeah,
those cards are so pushed, and if you're not playing a pushed card, if you're not playing broken cards in your deck, then you're not.
you're
It
not
doesn't
playing
feel like you're
Magic.
playing Modern currently.
Yeah,
There's only a few fair decks in Modern that you're like, okay, yeah, sure. Like Murktide to me is the fairest deck in Modern because it barely plays any pitch cards,
I
and
think Burns more fair than that.
Burn might be even more fair than that. But like you look at it like
Yeah,
Scam inherently unfair, Rhinos inherently unfair, Omnath inherently unfair, Hammer Time
yeah,
inherently unfair. Like there's a bunch of unfair decks in the format.
there is. And maybe Dan, we just need to get good.
There's also that.
Uh, yeah, like we are not modern aficionados. We don't sit and ladder grind all the time. Well, maybe
Oh,
Dan
I don't
does.
grind. I sit there and
Yeah,
I watch a lot of modern content creators. That
I do too. I watch one modern content creator for
is it
hours
me?
on end.
Is it
No,
me?
no, it's not you.
Uh,
No, I watch Aspiring Spike,
okay,
like for
but
hours
like
on end. Yeah,
I like Spike. Well,
but his
I have my
brews.
issues with
Okay,
Spike.
all right. I like his decks because
Yes.
they are outside
Yes.
of what the typical meta is.
Yes.
I love that stuff. I cannot pilot them the way he does.
Correct. No,
So when
and
I try to play them, I get very frustrated.
right. But the thing and the issue with Spike, and it's not him inherently. It's that watching him, you as a player are not watching somebody play a deck that is a deck that you will likely play and learning their decision points. So,
Right.
like, my modern content creator is Andrea Mengucci. He plays a bunch of different decks, but he plays Murktide every Sunday, and I watch every Sunday Murktide so I can learn. What are these decision points? And you watch him play like Scam. Well, he doesn't play Scam as much because he's like, this is a boring deck. It does one thing, but like he plays all these different like decks that do things, and you're just like, okay, you're learning, and then you start to pick up the other side. You're like, all right, what are the decision points that they have? And that's
Mhm.
why I'm not saying like I have the most amount of knowledge when it comes to modern, but like in terms of modern, I feel like I have a good grasp on the metagame. Very rarely do I ever find myself being like, what the fuck is this deck?
That is me constantly
And that's you
saying, "What the
constantly,
fuck is
and
this deck?"
that's likely what you need to start improving is your overall general knowledge of the format and learning how
I
to play differently based off of the information you've gathered.
I also feel like maybe modern's just not for me.
That's fair. If
Yeah.
modern's not for you, modern's not for you, and I'm not going to besmirch anybody who says the format sucks and they hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying I hate it. I'm saying that I feel like I get burnt out on it very easily. Actually, as of late, I've gone back to Arena and I've been playing a lot of like Arena on my phone and just running standard. Standard best of one has been really, really fun for me lately. I've been able to throw together a few different decks, like a Gruul Prowess deck. I've been
Mhm.
able to do mono white humans. Um, and what else was there? I think I was running like a Golgari Stompy thing. It doesn't work half the time, but it gets me my dailies.
Sure.
But I've been having a lot of fun in standard on arena compared to the amount of fun I've been having in modern.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. And I'm not gonna, we'll talk about it here in a minute with the revitalization of standard play in local game stores. But like, yeah, I, I'm not saying I'm done with modern because I'm gonna play my entire RCQ set. Although I missed the one on the previous Saturday because they had to cap it, which like I'm just gonna say this: maybe Wizards. We don't give stores that have to cap the events RCQs. Maybe we don't do that. Maybe we just
Mm.
give stores make stores give us all the space that we can have.
So they didn't have enough space for everybody,
No, they capped it at 52,
which seems
and
very low.
I showed up 15 minutes before the start to register. which would be a normal amount of time to pre-register. And one of the guys behind the bar, because it's like a bar, one of
Yeah.
your bar game stores.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, why are these guys showing up 15 minutes before thinking they can get in? It's like, because we've done this everywhere else. We can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's weird that you would not like that's insane to me that they had that kind of attitude.
Yeah. And I guess it's because they want to just continue to serve regular customers. And it's just like, all right, well, then get a bigger space. Like,
It's not necessarily even that. Like you're holding a tournament that
yeah.
is highly competitive.
Yeah.
You should have extra staff on hand to either man the store or extra staff to run the event. Like you need to put extra space somewhere. The RCQ I went to last month, they actually opened up their closed location just for the RCQ.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
as extra space, and they had dedicated people there, and they weren't serving external customers.
Yeah. And I'm not saying because in reality, most of the pricing from the tournament is going in, or most of the buy-in from the tournament is going towards pricing and probably judge costs. So you're probably making like next to no money off of this
Right.
tournament. But I'm sorry.
That's also the cost of being a WPN store.
Yeah, like you like, to me, you capping it, and this is me. Like I don't really even care because it's like, all right, that's fine. I drove 40 minutes to get here, but whatever. But like, to me, that's just like, why are you like? And they did advertise the cap too, so I was like, maybe I should have shown it, but whatever. The point is like, why are we allowing stores to cap events? Like, to me, events should not be capped.
The only thing I could see is if it was an occupancy hazard, right? Like the store did not have the physical space to hold more than X number of players.
Then the store should not be having this event.
Maybe Wizards just needs to introduce this is the minimum amount of players you can have.
And I think 52 is fine. I think 52
Yeah.
is like an acceptable amount
Yep.
for a minimum. But like, yeah, I it was me and at least like 5 other people who showed up 15 minutes early, being like, "And we're here," and they're like, "Nope, can't bring you, can't let you in." It's like, okay, I'll go scout around here because I drove 40 minutes, so I'll just look at this place.
That's the thing that sucks. Luckily for me, like everywhere around here, they do early registration. So
yeah, and so I just used Spice Rack GG, which is a great resource. But like,
Spice Rack GG, never heard of it.
yes, it allows you to find MTG events independently of the Wizards companion app.
Huh.
And they have a thing called drivable modern RCQs. So I currently have they're saying there's 4 drivable RCQs. One is 99 miles away. I'm not driving to that one. There's one that's 46 miles away. I'm driving to that one. And then I have another one the following day. And then I have another one the following week. But
yeah,
like, they don't say here on any of the website, they don't give like, I guess they do give a website, but like, you can't, if I go to the website, I can't register for the event already. So it's like, all right, well, if you're going to have a cap, at least advertise that you have a website so we know.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
That's all I have to say about that. If I go into this much more, I'll just start ranting.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. That is our modern take. It's spicy. It's hot. It's what everybody else on Reddit has said.
It's it's just adding to the noise on Reddit. Oh, people hate modern because of the evoke elementals. Yes, we do.
Yeah. But moving on, we did get some news during
Worlds.
It was during Worlds. Yes, during Worlds. I was trying to remember the timing, and it was around the revitalization of Standard, which I'm all excited for because aside from Commander, Standard was what I really played a lot of first starting out. Came in around Kaldheim and had my Scooty Swarms go. But yeah, so it looks like they're bringing in a lot of promos.
Yes,
and
that's the big thing.
Yeah, the big thing is a lot of in-person play promos at your local game store, right? They're trying, and I'm trying to pull up the article, and I linked it.
Yeah, it's long ago, so I'll just start for you. So it's starting with local store play. They're going for 3 levels here. Local store play, which is the majority of players. So in February, alongside the launch of Murderers at Karloff Manor, we'll be bringing back Standard Showdown. For players not familiar with the program, it includes 3 things: a weekly standard play program held at local WPN game stores, special promos and other prizes for players who participate and win, a special oversized card for retailers who successfully complete a number of designated events. And then also, starting with the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, so the next standard set in November, we'll be shifting the store championships to standard constructed. So all store championships, seemingly going forward, will be standard constructed, giving players
Good.
an additional chance to compete at local game stores for exciting promos and prizes.
Yep. And I understand a lot of people are going to probably be seeing this as like, oh, they're just Wizards trying to make money off a standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're trying to make money. That's fine. I think it's important though, because this gives new players a starting point, right? You don't have to buy $80 Chalice of the Voids to play in the format. it's it's far more cost effective in my opinion to be able to get into standard. Right now a lot of the top decks are $150.
Yeah, which is a pretty good investment, but like, it's not like it's gonna destroy you. I think the big thing though is, and we haven't seen them yet. Where are the challenger decks?
That is what really needs to happen to bring standard back.
Because
And
you
I'm
know it'd
interested
be
in
cool. Sorry to cut you off.
yeah.
You know what'd be cool is a standard event where you're just like, all right, guys, here's a bunch of challenger decks. Pick a
And you
deck.
only play that.
You can only play with the challenger decks. Like that's a cool concept.
I like that. That's much what is it, the commander showdowns or whatever that
Yeah.
some stores do, where it's like, here's your pre-con commander deck. If you win, you get a free commander deck or something.
Yeah,
Or at least that's what my stores did.
and I mean, maybe you don't do that. Maybe you just do the event at like at like what you're retailing the decks for. Like, all right, so the event is $40. It's your buy-in plus the challenger deck, and you can make no alterations to the challenger deck. You just play with the challenger deck, and let's go. Like, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little concerned about the store payouts, the oversized cards. Are these actually worth something to the stores? Like,
No, but what the store can do is they can run
yeah.
an oversized card tournament. Because it says it's just like who it just gives them to the store. It doesn't say what to do with them. And I'm betting that unless the owner really wants just the oversized fucking card, they'll just run an event that's just like, hey, pay $20 and you get to participate in our random standard tournament or random format tournament where the grand prize is like $100 in store credit and this oversized card, and you're like, hooray, this is what I've always wanted, is an oversized card.
Yeah, that's I could see that as being fine, or like they try to as a way to make money. It's just, to me it feels like it's a little lackluster for the store.
Yes, I 100% agree.
Yeah, other than maybe selling more standard product sets. I don't know how many stores just have standard stuff sitting on their shelves.
Well, I mean, obviously you get the Drastin set and collector boosters of every recent set. So like you have that stuff, but like again, it goes back to where the challenger decks. Like,
Yeah.
are there enough from 2022 or enough from 2021? Also, the ones from 2021 can't really use because they have AFR. Also, I think the ones from 2022 they have AFR, so you can't use those.
Yeah, they're going to need a new set of challenger decks for standard.
So you want to revitalize standard? Like, do challenger decks every 6 months. That's the easy. Like
Yeah.
you just
Yeah, I
reprint
think that's decent. Yeah.
every 6 months. The the meta shifts like every time there's a standard release, but like
Yeah.
every 6 months you release a new challenge deck, different archetype from the previous one, so that way you're not overlapping and
Mhm.
you're not like well this is just like a slightly upgraded version of the one we already gave everybody. No.
Right. Yeah.
Different archetypes, and obviously like you're the nerf them to a degree because you're wizards and you don't want to give like everybody like that $70 Shieldred in a fucking challenger deck.
Yeah.
um,
And they also need to make sure that they communicate with the band announcement team. Because remember when they did the Faceless Haven ban
yeah
and it was just released in a challenger decks and they had to be like, oh, if you run it in the stock challenger deck, well, it's legal, but then if you modify it at all, it's illegal.
yeah and they did that with Expressive Iteration and the Phoenix deck
Oh, did they do
for
that too?
Pioneer.
Oh, they did it twice?
Yeah, they did it at least twice. So like yeah, that's what you need to do. Like you can say you support standard play all the time, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's still another investment into stuff that people are gonna be like, okay, cool, I guess. But now I have to go out and buy a whole new set of cards that I didn't care about owning before, and I don't know if I'm even going to like the format. Now, obviously, they can try it on Arena, and obviously they can try it on MTGO. But like, there's been people who are like, I don't care. So you have to these
Yeah.
challenger decks have to be ready by like January. They're
I think you're right. Yep.
if there are no standard challenger decks by January, this is an utter failure.
Or at least an announcement of them coming soon.
Like, whenever Murders at Karlov Manor, like, I'm not saying the standard deck should be released alongside Murders at Karlov Manor because obviously you want them to get like. That's why I'm saying like January. They need to be January. These challenger decks need to be ready to go. So
Gotcha.
people can just have it ready before like, so that way we can get into the standard league and like you can have your people with draft, your people with standard.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, that was also another part of the announcement I think we just briefly glossed over, but they're bringing back the open event for standard now at the Magic Cons.
So we haven't gotten to that level. That
Oh,
is the
sorry.
next level. You're fine.
Yeah.
It's qualifier play. So at
Yes.
MagicCon Chicago in September, in January 2024. Spoiler alert: Stacking Triggers podcast will be at MagicCon Chicago.
Woo.
We'll hold a $75,000 standard open, similar to the limited opens held at MagicCon Barcelona and MagicCon Las Vegas.
Yeah.
The $75,000 standard open in Chicago will be the first large open field standard tournament in quite some time with significant prize money and Pro Tour invitations on the line. This gives the format a chance to shine and offers anyone who wants to compete in standard a chance to play.
Yeah, and I really like that it's just open. You can just walk right up and play.
Yeah, there's likely going to be a couple thousand people playing in a standard tournament.
Yeah. And you get to really then see kind of what's going on. Because right now, like I'm playing on MTGO. I played some standard this past week. 175 people were active online on MTGO for standard.
And I think that's also just because it's MTGO. I think Arena's the place for standard.
That's true. Arena is the place for standard. I like, though, not going up against random jank. Like, sure. I want to see the meta. I feel like the ranked play on Arena is not taken as seriously because it's like there's no money investment there, right? Like, at least on MTGO, you have to invest a little bit of money into the cards and then the entry fee.
What I'm hearing, Bill, is that with 175 people in a league, we should absolutely 100% be playing in the standard challenges on MTGO just to get like automatic top 32s.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, like I don't know. I'll try it next time. Next time I have availability.
I believe in you.
I will get dumpstered. I don't know. I did pretty good this last time though.
All right, next, running January through March, the third round of the 2023-2024 Regional Championship qualifiers will be standard. So again, where are the standard challenger decks?
Mm-hmm. Where's the modern challenger decks?
Well, we're never getting those. They've made that abundantly clear that they will never get modern challenger decks, which is insane to me. I
agree. It could be a huge cost. Like it could get so many people into the format.
You wizards could print them and say these are $200 and just go here. Like people will pay you $200 just to have a modern deck.
$200 wizards for 75 cards.
For 75 cards. Like who like
it's $25 less than a commander deck.
Yeah.
Or 25 cards, yeah.
I don't know. I think $200 or like some price like in that range, like people will buy that. People will absolutely buy that to get into to just have a modern deck. The Global Regional Championship round immediately following Pro Tour's Outlaws at Thunder Junction, which is after
MagicCon Chicago.
No, is after, well, actually, technically, yes. But after Murders at Karlov Manor? Yes. Wow, I got that right. Yeah. That's the set after that. So it goes, we have Ixalan, Innistrad, and then Thunder Junction, wherever that is.
Oh, the murder. Wait, hold on. Innistrad is the Murders?
Murders at Karlov Manor. Oh, no, that's Ravnica. I'm sorry, that's Ravnica.
You mean the Ravnica remastered?
No.
I'm sorry, I'm getting lost.
Okay, so there's too much product. So
we're in the timeline.
All right, so here we go. We are at WoW. We're at Wilds of Eldraine. Then we have Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Then we have the Lord of the Rings holiday bundle special thing. That is gonna be insane. And then we have Ravnica remastered.
Got it. Yep.
Which will then lead into Murders at Karlov Manor, which is also set on Ravnica. Which is why they're doing a Ravnica remastered beforehand to lead into the next. They did this with Dominaria remastered. They went Dominaria remastered into a couple Dominaria sets, and then it's Outlaws at Thunder Junction, which is on a brand new plane, I believe.
Okay, Cowboy plane.
So it's 3 sets from now that I say this. The Pro Tour Outlaws at Thunder Junction will feature the standard format, which, yes, we know, because there's going to be Pro Tour, what is it? Pro Tour Murders at Karlov Manor. That's going to be modern, or no, that's going to be Pioneer. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that should be the Pioneer Pro Tour.
Right, because they did Pioneer, then they did Modern, then they did Standard for this most recent one.
Well, they did Standard for Worlds, but I'm saying like Atlanta. Atlanta feeds into, I believe it's going to be MagicCon Chicago.
I see. Okay, and then what's Atlanta? Pioneer?
Atlanta's Pioneer. So I'm assuming that's going to be Pioneer. So actually, the RC, I might be getting this wrong, so let me know if I'm wrong, anybody. But like, I believe the RC that we're qualifying for will be modern, but then the Pro Tour itself will be standard. Unless there is a supplemental set in between Murders at Karlov Manor and Outlaws at Thunder Junction. In which case, there'll be a Pro Tour for that, and that will be modern.
Okay.
Which, if that's where Modern Horizons 3 is, fine.
Oh, gosh. I'm not ready. My body's not ready for MH3.
There's so much product. It's insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah, did they drop the Spoopy product?
They did. They just did. After several big events and ongoing in-store programs, a large swath of players all over the world will get their chance to put their standard chops to the test. Okay, wait, that's just flavor. I don't know why they put a bullet point there. Pro Tour play. Pro Tour Outlaws at Thunder Junction, the second Pro Tour of 2024. Okay, so I lied. If I just read ahead a little bit, it goes Pro Tour, Murders at Karlov Manor, and then Pro Tour Outlaws at Thunder Junction. Yeah. Pro Tour Murders at Karlov Manor is the one that Atlanta and the current RC, and I say RC, not RCQ, but RC, because we just had Lille, which is the European Championship. Atlanta, which that all feeds into Pro Tour Murders at Karlov Manor. So that means...
And that's not Q1, that's Q2 next year.
That's Q1.
It's Q1.
That'll be in February.
Okay.
or February or March.
That's the one we're going to.
It'll likely be at MagicCon Chicago.
Okay.
So then that means the one we're currently in, the modern season we're currently in, will have the RC whenever, and then the Pro Tour will be standard for this season.
Okay.
Which I kind of don't like. I kind of feel like if you qualify for modern and you win the RC with modern, you should just play modern. Ooh. Oh, Bill got a booze. Oh, Bill got a wine. Look at him.
A wine. A
Nice.
very winey wine. Mm.
Features the standard construction as a construction format of the event. It will of course be fully covered. Yeah, we know that. And then it's just a bunch of like, hey, we really care about standard. So they're trying.
Yeah. I see that they're trying, and they're making good on the word that, hey, we're going to try to do better, because, their first thing was, let's extend it to 3 years for rotation, which had a lot of people upset, probably had a lot of designers upset, because the designers are working 18 months out, I believe. And so which sets are we getting into now? So even the Caverns of Ixalan are not quite built for a 3-year rotation.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Unless they had last second chances to do edits.
Right. I doubt that at this point. So
right.
maybe Murders at Karlov Manor, which I've said a million times so far in this episode. Let's get the counter going. But I think that might have enough headway that, like, because they announced that back in like April, I think.
It was like February, not February.
Oh, no. Actually, I think it was during the summer. I think it was during Pro Tour to Lord of the Rings that they were like, "Hey, we got
no.
You mean with the rotation?
The rotation change was the big one. That was in the spring.
Yeah, I don't know then.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Hold on, let me go look here. Because the most recent news was on the 25th of September.
Yes, which is this one.
Which is this one. And then anytime. May 7th.
May. Okay, so yeah, there's potentially enough lead time. And I don't know when sets get finalized. I'd have to ask somebody who's actually a set designer. But yeah, I feel like Murders at Karlov Manor would have been should have enough time. I don't know about Lost Caverns of Ixalan or not.
Yeah, that feels a little close. But I definitely think that we will start to see kind of more longevity stuff, unless they just want standard to be spicy. More Shieldreds.
Yeah, more. Well, that's one of the things that will rotate out first with the 3-year rotation. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think that you have to show via product support that you actually care. And again, I'm gonna harp on this. I'm gonna say it again a million times. You're gonna be tired of hearing it. The Challenger decks for standard need to be there, and they need to be good. I'm not saying they need to be like tier 0 decks that you built, the best of the best, but like I'm saying, they need to be tier 3. Like all of them need to be like tier 3 level decks.
And the mana base on them, right? The previous ones that we've seen have been like, oh, we're not going to give you the full mana base that this has, so you're gonna, like, we'll give you one Faceless Haven, not the full play set,
right? Or like, and this is the Pioneer, but like we got one fucking Steam Vents. One Steam Vents. We got, and no Spire Bluff Canal with the
like that's not that's like the most expensive part. One of the most expensive parts of the Pioneer decks is those land bases, because those land bases are used all over.
And mind you, the Orzhov Humans deck contained 4 copies of Concealed Courtyard, because that is like a less than $1 card, and it's like these land bases aren't even comparable. Like, what are you doing?
And the thing is too, those cards are not in print. So who
Yeah,
cares? Like,
right.
you are not taking money from your own pocket.
Yeah, fuck the secondary market. Print them. You've
Yeah.
already told us where you want to retain the money, and it's on the reserve list. So like, keep to that and reprint
Yeah.
other stuff.
Yeah, I don't care. Add an extra $20 onto that, because what, they're $40 decks typically.
Yeah. If you
Yeah,
told me they were like $80 decks, but you got like 4 Spire Bluff Canal, 4 River Glide Pathway,
and for Steam
4
Vent
Steam Vents, a Storm Carved Coast, I'd be like, I'll pay
value,
$80 for that, no questions asked.
value.
Like that's a Murktide mana base for the most part. Like no, obviously no fetches, but like
Right.
Spire Bluff plus Steam Vents, like you're pretty good to go on most Is It decks for the rest of your life.
Yeah, yeah. It's anger. Just print the things.
Just give us something decent for our LGSs that we can all buy into the standard format with these cards. And yeah, they can be upgradable, but like give
Yeah,
us a 75 that fucking works, that people can go down to the game store and be like, all right, let's try standard. And
yeah.
and yeah, there'll be that one douchebag with the domain ramp combo that attracts us 9 times, and you're just like, well, this game fucking sucks. But like at
Yeah,
least you'll have a deck that can play in standard.
yeah. And the other thing too, right? I, the other half of this equation, right? You have the sale or the card support there, the product support
Mhm.
with the challenger decks. I think you also need to push these stores. These stores need an incentive to actually run standard FNMs
Outside of promos.
outside of the promos. Yes, there needs to be a reason for these stores to run this. So I know I was talking to the shop that just opened up here, and he says, for my first 90 days or so, I have to get so many people a month to sign in through the app or whatever. And so do something like that in order to maintain WPN status. You have to have 3 standard events a month or something, or
Yeah.
2, or even just 1. So it's like 1 week you do standard.
Or like you can't, I don't know. I think the promos are, I think the whole point of the promos is to get people to come out and play. People come out and play. They spend the money to buy in. They get the promos. The promos cost the store nothing because they were getting it shipped to them by Wizards for free. So maybe they pocket all the money. Maybe I don't, but I don't know. I don't know about store economics, so I could
Yeah.
be wrong and completely off base about that.
No, stores pay for promos.
They pay for Wizards. What
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fuck
yeah.
are you
Your
talking about?
promo cards, the stores pay something for those.
Wizards, what the
It's
fuck are you talking
it's
about?
it's an entire kit. The store up in Buffalo, the guy told me, or maybe he was justifying his cost,
It's also
like his
possible.
entry fees. Like, but I'm pretty sure that they have to pay for the kit to run the events. Because he said he had to have a minimum of X number. What was it? A minimum of 23 players to break even on his shit.
And maybe that's true. I don't know. And maybe
Yeah.
was he WPN premium?
No, he was a mile away from a bus stop, so he did not qualify.
Oh, that is a shame on you.
Yeah.
Contact your city council. Get a bus stop next door.
Yeah. He was the only game store in this country area. and and he could not get he had the sales. He had everything except for the bus stop. He was very
Shame,
sad.
shame,
Yeah.
shame, shame.
Definitely one of the I don't know, one of the better stores I was at
Sure.
as far as like organization wise. Uh anyways, but yeah, I'm excited to play more standard though. I think I'm going to be trying to do maybe 1 video a month that's standard focused,
Sure.
just to keep my, you know,
I'm gonna
keep
play
up on it.
Murktide till it hits November, and I'm like, all right, time to play Pioneer now. Got to get ready for Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm just practicing for the Open at this point in Chicago.
Yeah, it's fair.
Because yeah, I'm not doing too hot in modern. I don't have high hopes. I don't want to stress about it. So I'll play a little bit of modern, but I'm not going to do crazy stuff. With that though, Dan, I think we're at a close for the day. If you're watching this on YouTube, please go ahead, comment, like, and subscribe. September's over, but the goal is still in our hearts. We really want to at least get to that 100 subscriber mark. And on the podcast side, Dan, tell them what they need to do.
Just subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Leave us a review if that's possible on said platform, and let us know how we're doing. If you like the podcast, if you don't, because we would like to know how we're doing and what you think of us.
Yeah, we can't get better if you don't tell us what we are bad at.
Big facts.
And with that, I will say keep calm and spike on.